Hello, everybody. Welcome to hopefully a very decent connection here today on Test Drive Live. We've done a little bit of networking work today, and we're really hoping that this is working today. And today we've got two very special cars to us here at Test Drive. Obviously, our 2001 BMW 740iL, as always, is sitting ready, waiting to go. But we've got a real beast here today. This is the 2018 BMW M760Li, or for you in the States, it's the M760i. There's no L, even though in the States they only offer it as a long wheelbase. They, for some reason, decided to take the L off. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it costs about the same as it does up here, which is interesting. So we're going to be showing you briefly a little bit about these two cars. Obviously, my E38 is not a V12, but we did feature the 2000 BMW 750iL not too long ago, 9 months roughly. So we're obviously not going to compare the actual engines, but we're going to talk about the two and everything that's different and unique about them. And I have to say, once again, we did this with the, we were doing, what car was it? We did one that we had the spec sheet. So I've got the spec sheet here because this G12 7 Series has a lot of options. Now, first of all, the MSRP as configured for this beast is $183,700 Canadian. It's $176,000 US. So for some reason, it's actually a better deal to buy it up here in Canada than it is in the States. I don't know why, but it just is. Now you've got a lot going on. I know that the color here is a little hard to see. It's been raining here, and we took it out this morning because obviously you've got a you got a V12, right? You're going to use it. So we took it out this morning, so it's a little dirty. I apologize for that. But the paint is frozen dark brown. It's technically a BMW individual color. So you can see here it doesn't shine as much. It's a flat black color or flat brown. You also have, so that's $2,000 for that. And then we'll go on to the inside stuff after. You do have obviously the full M kit. And it's interesting, if you haven't been following what they've been doing with the 7 Series, they don't offer a regular V12 anymore. All you can get is the M760Li. So if you're, somebody who doesn't need the power, necessarily doesn't need the sportiness, you have no choice. You are getting this car. They don't make just a regular 760 anymore. So you've got that. You have, these rims aren't the original ones. It is, I don't know. I thought they were like X5M rims, but the actual M, it's funny, the rim, the name for this, the rims that would normally come with this are 760M style rims. So it's funny, it matches the badging on the car, but they didn't put them on here. These are the winter rims on the car. And I don't know, I mean, it's not a bad looking look for it. It looks nice. It's just not the, I think it's $2,000 option that you would get with those M760 style rims. So anyway, you've got regular rims on there, winter tires still, unfortunately. And a lot of options. Like I said, $183,000 MSRP, $21,500 worth of options on this car. And really the only thing that it's missing, there is no night vision. Who cares, right? Night vision, we've had it on the Cadillac CT6. We didn't really use it. I know that I think it's the E65, E66 7 Series had night vision as well. Who the hell uses it? Nobody does. So for $2,500, I think it was, you're saving yourself a little bit of coin there. But you do have the driving assist package for $2,200, $4,900 for the Bowers & Wilkins Diamond surround sound system, $600 for the remote control parking, which is actually cheaper here. I believe it's $850 in the US. You have full BMW individual leather on the inside. We'll go into that after. And it's kind of it. I mean, in terms of options, you're looking at it. Looks really good. I like it. I love this car. I have to say that, we really love driving the Cadillac, that CT6. People looked at it, but I'm telling you right now, people are looking at this car when we're driving by. It is such a unique vehicle, especially with the V12. There are just none of them for sale in Quebec here. We took a look. We wanted to see if we could compare something. Not a single V12, new or old. The only one is a 2000 Mercedes S600, which can't really compare this to it. So you can see here that it looks quite good. I like having two relatively dark BMW 7 Series in the garage. And my wife is just away for work this week. But when she comes back, we are going to be driving around town with both of these at the same time. I think it's going to look really cool. Now, obviously, a lot of people think that the E38 7 Series is the last true 7 Series BMW ever made. And it's true. It is a very remarkably striking design. I love it. Everything about it really just feels perfect to me. We'll open it up here. So if you haven't actually been to our channel before, if this is your first time, this is really the car that started test drive for us. Everything here is relatively original. Everything kind of works more or less. We did upgrade it to the full leather B-pillar sort of trim there off the 750, and we're hoping one day to be able to get the full 750 trim, because the door cards and everything are half leather, half plastic. It's really just the airbag part where you have a little bit of leather trim there, but the dashboard's plastic and all that. But I gotta say, I love driving this car. I love being driven in this car the few times that I have the chance to do so. It's just a lot of fun, and long wheelbase. Love it. It's such a nice feel to it. You get into it and it's just super comfortable. I even like the beige too. I wasn't sold on it at first, but I really love it now. And you know, we talked about it, we need, because this car is 17 years older than the G12. And I still think it's a modern design. I think that this car has aged incredibly well, especially compared to you know, a lot of other cars that came out in the early 2000s. But when you do step in to the BMW M760Li, you do see that my car looks like a little Mitsubishi Mirage in comparison. So you can see, you open up the doors here. We talked about it with the other G12 we did. There's really no notches in the doors, so you can open them as little or as large as you want without having to worry about it. And also, soft closed doors, something that you could not get on the E38. And everything just looks so good. Everything's leather. This is, again, BMW individual interior here, smoke white with black stitching. So you've got the black dashboard, and the door cards are all leather and wood. You've got this really just gorgeous stitching. If you look along here, nice piping along here. The stitching is all black, really contrasts well. You have the little BMW individual, I guess, badge on there. You have an anthracite Alcantara roof liner, which again looks quite nice. I think the only thing that I'd say, if you look there where the B pillar is, it doesn't line up with the wood and the leather on the top there. So maybe the only fault of the interior is that, much like my car, it does have wood grab handles. I'll see if you can see it up here, the one that I'm holding on to. It's wood with chrome, which was not on the 750 that we featured earlier. It did not have the chrome line package. But the wood really does flow throughout. You've got wood everywhere, leather everywhere. Just a fantastic design, in my opinion. Certainly beats the F01 and the E65. I mean, the interior on this really is just unbelievable. Is it as good as the S-Class though? I don't know. We haven't had a chance to take a look at the W222, so for all we know, it could be, but I think that probably Mercedes, truthfully, is going to be a little bit higher quality and more luxury. But I love this car, man. It's so nice. So we're going to take a look quickly in the back here. It's set up for my daughter, so I'm just going to move the car seat a little bit out of the way. But one of the things I like, I mean, there's a lot of things I like about this car, but one of the main things that I like about it is how nice the back seat is set up for the passengers here. You can turn on the monitor, and I believe Cars 2 is going to start playing, but you can take the accompanied Android tablet here and you can change everything. So for example, we're not going to watch Cars 2. I do not want to have a lawsuit from Disney, so can I change it? Apparently it can't with, it says no source act, so I think the engine needs to be on. So you can change that. One of the things that you can do as well with the tablet here, I mean everything really you can do with this tablet, and I'll try to show you as best I can. You can control all the seats. So for example, you want to get rid of the seat in front, you just push it out of the way. Oh, and again, I think the power needs to be on. So let's do that. What do you guys think? Should we fire up the 6.6 liter, 601 horsepower, 519 foot-pounds of torque that this M760Li has to up for you guys, give it a little rev. I know it's not going to be easy to hear it necessarily on the microphone, but I like it. We're going to start it in sport mode too. So here's what you do. There's launch control, which we're not going to do. We're in a garage, but I will show you that you can start the car in sport mode. So you get into the front here. It's pretty much on already. I haven't even touched the button. So there's all your modes down here: sport, comfort, eco pro, and adaptive. So you don't even need to start the car. You can push sport, puts it into my individual mode, and I'm going to put the microphone as out as possible Let's see if you can hear it. There you go. Now, I have to say that the sound is quite nice. It is an M Performance exhaust, and the way that it's been described through the press release is it is pretty much straight pipes as much as possible from the catalysts in the back. And the catalysts are as close to the engine as possible so that they preheat as quickly as possible. But I got to say, it's still kind of muted. It's certainly louder than the S55 AMG that we featured a little while ago on Monday. But I think BMW still is keeping it relatively tame, especially since the buyers who are looking at a full V12 offering can only get the M version of it, or M Performance version. It's not a full M car. So let's see here. We're going to move these seats now. Like I said, we've got our little tablet. So I will try to show you as best as possible. It's still not working. I really don't think the engine has to be running for it, but let me see if we can change this. Let me try again. This is the joy of live streaming. But one of the reasons why I think it's fun to do it with this car, obviously, when we put together the episode of Test Drive Spotlight on this car in, a couple weeks, it's going to be different than this live stream because we're really just kind of having some fun with it. Not really a full tour as much as it is just a couple of us sitting here taking a look at this fun car, playing around with some of the features. So let's try again. Cars is still running. No support. Don't know what's going on here. I'd be surprised. Maybe you do have to have the engine running. So we'll try to get it outside maybe in a little bit. But essentially, you can control everything from this tablet here. And with the $10,000 executive lounge, we're going to turn this off again. I don't need giving me a copyright infringement claim on it. Maybe we can display it here. There we go. This is what I liked about it. The Cadillac said that it had the ability to share the screen from the front. It said front display, and it never worked. But with this, you can see everything that you would maybe necessarily want to have if you're being driven around. So you have your map, you have your time, what's playing on the other side here. And one of the things that I figured, we haven't tested yet, but it appears to be that you can connect headphones to either side of the back here, and you can listen to your own channel of Sirius XM radio or the radio. So the front passengers can be listening to, for example, Alt Nation, and then if you're sitting back here, you could be listening to whatever the hell you want on your own with your headphones. So there's quite a lot of customization, but I like this because it kind of makes you feel like you're sitting first class in a Boeing 747. So it's a really cool setup that you've got here. Plus, again, with that $10,000 executive lounge, you do have a full console here. It's only a 2-passenger setup, so you've got your cup holders and your climate control, and then you can close it all up too if you want to have it kind of cleared up. And there is the little seat table here. So it's only on the one side. You can pull it out, flip it over, have your lunch, do your work. I don't know what you're going to do with it. There's only one of them, but it's kind of a fun little toy to have back here. But again, I guess if you're really in the market for a $185,000 car, you might be needing to do work while you're being chauffeured around in the car. And I have to say that it's comfortable. This is easily one of the most comfortable cars. This is the most comfortable car that we've featured so far. Whether or not it is the most comfortable car on earth, that remains to be seen. But I am really impressed with it. The legroom is quite good. And you can see too, I'm basically in the position that the driver would be in right now. And sitting back here, I've still got about a hand worth of legroom. And this isn't even the spot you're supposed to sit in. You're supposed to sit back there if you're being chauffeured around. But that is the thing. There's a lot going on with this over my little E38, my little Mitsubishi Mirage now in comparison. I mean, this car, aside from the fact that it doesn't have the V12, was fully loaded. I mean, you had navigation, you had parking sensors, you had every little thing that BMW was doing at the time had put into this car. And I think it stood the test of time. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to focus on with our episode of Test Drive. We're not going to be necessarily showing you, I mean, we're going to show you everything about this car, don't get me wrong. But it's been out for so long now that I think every other outlet has talked about performance, and it's talked about handling, and it's talked about luxuries and gadgets and everything. That's great. If you really are interested in buying this car, go take a look at those videos. But I think we want to focus on how this car has become such an icon, not only to BMW enthusiasts, but to people in general. They know what this car is, and we want to talk about how this E38 has kind of changed now into this. This is where BMW has gone into this monster of a vehicle. So we're going to be focusing a lot on the differences and kind of the perspective of what this car is in comparison to something like the E38. And again, it's obviously not the V12 here, but we did drive it, and I can tell you right now that the, the amount of power that the V12 E38 had is nothing. I think it was, what, 330 horsepower? This is 601, so almost twice the power. Definitely twice the power of the 282 horsepower on this thing. But they're still just really fun to drive. Really both, they're enjoyable. And yeah, I mean, I would obviously continue driving my E38. If I had this car, I think it'd still be great to still drive the E38 on a daily basis if you could. But this definitely gets a lot of people looking. I've been pretty impressed with the amount of people that have been curious about it, because you don't see them. I haven't seen one either, aside from the one that I'm driving. I have not seen the M760Li on the road. Now, I know it's kind of just been me talking, and I haven't really had a chance to see what you guys have been saying in the comments. So if you have any specific questions about this car, I'll try my best to kind of go over it super quick while we're here. But the stuff that we really can't get to immediately, we'll definitely try to get it into the final episode of the show. So is there anything you guys want to see before we wrap up this live stream? Obviously, aside from a burnout, I can't leave the garage with our live stream currently right now. But I think we got our work cut out for us to be able to do this. Show the engine. I will show you the engine. You're going to be very disappointed, though. I'm telling you, we were. I was out yesterday. I went to go. I'm an Xbox guy. I did warm the engine up. I can't do any pulls though. We can't take the car anywhere just because, first of all, my daughter is in the house right now, so she can't be alone. But also, the live stream will not continue outside of our little geographic area here, unfortunately. So, here's the engine bay. I hope you guys like it. Woo! There's nothing there. You can't see a thing. You've got the huge M Performance right here, and it's a little dusty, but M Performance, because this is a M Performance car, whatever that means, really. You've got your huge turbos on either side. And the way the turbos work is essentially each turbo supplies half the engine. So you've got 6 cylinders running on one turbo and 6 cylinders running on the other, and it uses the same air-to-water intercooling system that they've put onto the BMW M3 and M4. So this really is, I know a lot of people probably think that this isn't really an M car, and it's true. It's not an M7. It's not meant to be an M7. This is like the M240i, the M550D. But it does have a lot of that same tech. And I did watch a video, I believe it was CarWow. They did a drag race with this M760Li with the new M3, and it won. This car beat the M3. Now, going around a corner, obviously not. This thing weighs like 48 tons, and the handling is, BMW 7 Series quality, but it's still a massive behemoth of a car, so you're not going to be really taking it on a track. But you can see here, they hide it all away from you. And it's probably for the best. This car, I don't think anybody in 15 years is going to have one of these cars on the side of their house and working on it on their own. There's no way that you can work on this car as a shade tree mechanic. E38, absolutely. G12, hell no, not possible. You got to take this thing. I don't even think you're going to be able to take this into a mechanic that isn't BMW. So I do still look, yes, at used E38s from time to time, but I have to say, I know it's bad for the hardcore BMW enthusiasts out there. I've been looking more at the Mercedes stuff recently. On our shopping list, if I won the lottery tomorrow, we do have the #1 car is a 2006 Mercedes-Benz CL65 AMG with 48,000 kilometers on it. That's what we're going to buy first. And then obviously we'd get another E38. If we had tons of money, why not, right? But we do still look for them. They don't really come up too much. Yes, it is. This is xDrive. Now, I believe in the States as well, they're all xDrive. And maybe in Europe too. Depends. I don't think they're making them anymore as rear wheel only. But this one does have all-wheel drive. And I can tell you, you need it. Because if you want to actually put the car to its fullest potential in a straight line, it's a little scary. I have to say that the car pulls a little bit. You got a little bit of torque steer going in some, I think to the left it pulls a little bit too much. So yeah, I feel that the power might be a little too much for a car like this, and I think that people could get in trouble with it. But yeah, xDrive definitely helps. Well, we do hope to get more. We've had a couple people who've messaged us over the course of the last couple of weeks who have vehicles. A lot of them are outside of our province, unfortunately, but we are hoping, especially as the weather improves. It's raining today, which is not nice, but we are hoping to be able to get out there and review some more older stuff. Well, that's the thing. We're not sure what this really compares to, because it's not an S65 competitor for two reasons. The S65 has, I believe, 630 horsepower, so a little bit more horsepower, but it has, I believe, 750 foot-pounds of torque, so 160 pounds of torque more than this car. And the S65 also costs $285,000, same as the Mercedes Maybach S650. So, I think, it's mean to say it to BMW, but the M760Li is kind of like the poor man's S65. You can't afford the $285,000 car. You still want to have the V12. You go and save $100,000 and you get the BMW, but that's the problem. I believe the S63 is around the same price, but again, it's a V8, right? So you can compare power, and it's similar. I believe the S63 is about 600 pounds, or sorry, 600 horsepower, and probably similar torque, maybe a little bit more, but it's a V8, right? So you can't really compare V8, V12. It's the engines that are the difference too, and the inside too. I mean, the inside of this, again, we haven't seen the new S-Class, especially the new S AMGs, but I think the BMW's got to have a nicer interior over the S63 AMG, but that's why you can't compare. We were really hoping to be able to find an older, like an F02 V12 760Li. I mean, we just kind of show the differences. Yes, the standard V12, but the problem with that too is they don't sell them here. We took a look on the Mercedes website. You can go either from the S560, which is a V8, or the the Mercedes Maybach S600. It seems like, at least right now, they don't have a non-Maybach version of the S600 here, which is kind of like this. There is no non-M performance version of the 760. So, yeah, it would probably be a little bit more similar, but they just don't have it here. Maybe in Europe, but if you're looking at an S600, it's the S650 Maybach. It's the only one they're selling here. Really silly, if you ask me. Yeah, it's weird. I think there's not a whole lot of market for this. Oh, the Cadillac. That's the thing. The the Cadillac CT6. We still love that car. I think I would still take the CT6 over the 750. Just because the Cadillac, a little bit more sporty, lower to the ground, feels a little bit more nimble, especially with that letter engine with the twin turbo 3-liter V6. I think the M Sport will certainly help, but this car, as configured, destroys the Cadillac. I mean, there's way more going on, and you guys, if you've been watching this for a while, if you watch Test Drive, you know that my biggest feature is the ambient lighting. The Cadillac had none. There's so much. We'll see. Let's see if we can play around with a little bit of it. You just get in here, because I should be able to theoretically play with it. I believe it's under my vehicle. Where is it? That's the only problem. There's so much. No, it's not vehicle status. Maybe vehicle settings, lighting. There we go. Cost for this exact same car with all the options minus because this car doesn't have there's no night vision on this. That's the only option they didn't Select is 177,000 US, roughly. That's the price that we got today. So a similar price. There we go. So you can have blue. I'll show you just maybe the door here. So you can have blue, and there's like blue with kind of a lighter color on top, green, green with a lighter color, lilac. So the thing, again, much like the Mini, all 300 people who watched the Mini video, you can change all the colors here, and it's nice. But the problem is all of this stuff along here stays, you know, that sort of orange color, and I kind of like keeping it in the orange. The car itself, or the ambient lighting, in terms of standing out, the car itself stands out even at night. I think people, especially with all this ambient light, people will definitely see it as you're driving along. But I think that the flat black probably makes it a little bit more difficult to figure out what it is. So again, that might help to make it stand out as people are driving along and see at night. They're thinking, what the hell is that? Sure enough, M760. So here, we'll go back here. Yeah, ambient, I mean, you can turn it off. I don't know who would ever turn off ambient lighting. Come on. And then the other thing too, you can kind of see a little bit. The light up, and you can turn it off or on. And then this lower speaker as well is like that. Oh. And the other thing I noticed, I can't show it here. I'm gonna try my best to get it in the final version of our episode on this car, but the headlights, you know, obviously they're LED, they're automatic LED headlights, but the high beams, when you turn on the high beams, they're really bright, but they kind of gracefully turn on. It's like a little progressive, so it takes like, you know, 3 or 4 seconds for them to slowly come on, but it's elegant, looks nice. And then obviously if you turn them off, they'll turn off right away, but it's sort of a nice soft way to turn on those lights, and easily the best lighting that we've had on an exterior car so far. Oh, and you know, $600 for this little key. We've been having a couple of issues with it though. The little smart key here, so you can remote park the car, and we've had issues because we'll push the little button. There's a little parking button here, and you're supposed to hold it, and then it'll connect to the car. And I can hear something going on here. Can't be operated inside, so you know, you can't do it inside. And then we tried it, we were outside, and every time we've tried it here at the house, it says that it just doesn't work. It's there's too much interference for some reason. But yeah, like I said, we are going to be focusing a little bit more. I mean, obviously we want to do a full tour and review of this car, but we're going to be doing 2 different episodes. Actually, we're going to have one that's really going to compare how it's going to be a spotlight. It's going to still be a typical episode of Test Drive Spotlight. We're going to show you all of this and everything about it, but we're going to be doing it from the perspective of this E38. And we're going to say, look, like, E38 is one of those timeless cars that BMW made that will never be replaced. And in terms of just everything, the ride quality, the comfort, the amenities, the luxuries, the design, everything on point. 100% one of the best cars, and such a great car that I've had the chance to own. So we're going to be focusing a little bit more on showing that, but we also are going to show the tech differences. Because if you take a look at something like our E38, right, we'll jump into it real quick. It is again, you know, kind of Mitsubishi Mirage in terms of all the features in comparison. But when you get into a car like this, it has tech that still works, right? We have a navigation system here. I know that it's out of date. It doesn't really work, but you've got a navigation system. Be quiet. You've got a navigation system. You have a little computer that tells you what's going on. That's about it. There's not a whole lot going on, but this still works. This tech works today. And if you had the map, which we don't have, it's out of date. And all. So you know, you can see that you can still use this car. It still works today. You can still have a good experience driving this car and use essentially all the tech that was available in 2000. But take a look at this. Half of the stuff in this car is not going to work, and it's not because it's going to break, but it's going to become more obsolete quicker than this car. Something like the wireless Apple CarPlay is such a nice feature to have, but 5 years from now, 6 years from now, if Apple's changed the iPhone significantly in such a way that that doesn't work anymore, you're out of luck. 10 years from now, you know, this E38 of mine is 17 years old, right? Nobody's going to have an iPhone 8 in 17 years. Apple might not even be making phones in 17 years. Who knows what's going to be out in 17 years? So things like that are not going to work anymore. Those screens in the back, even if the LCDs still work in 17 years, are we still going to be using Blu-ray and still going to be using DVD-based media? Probably not. It's going to have moved on to something that's just not compatible anymore. So we're going to be doing a completely separate episode, kind of showing how technology in something like our E38 is still functional today in today's life. It's still a good, and especially the design is outstanding, but the technology in this car has stood the test of time, whereas anything recent doesn't need to be just BMW, but you take a look at Mercedes, Audi, anything. None of those cars in 17 years are going to have aged in a technological way as this E38 has. And we want to kind of focus a little bit on that during a separate episode. Like I said, it's going to be an episode of Test Drive Garage on the tech and how it changed. So again, I know we've been doing this for half an hour now. It's been a fun experience. If there's any last little questions, anything else you'd like to see quickly, I can certainly do that. We did start it up, and I will start it up once again before we end off our stream here for anybody who's joined us. But overall, I think we've covered a lot of what we can on a relatively low quality, no microphone sort of walk around of this car. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I certainly have loved it. Any opportunity I get to be driving in this car is a good day. A smile thumbs up, like this. Yes, very nice. Oh, front brakes, absolutely. You can see them not quite as well as if they had the actual rims that came on this car. They're a little bit more difficult to see, but they are pretty friggin' big. They're not, again, this isn't like an M car. So as you can see, they're just regular brakes. They're not drilled. They're not slotted or anything. They're just regular disc brakes. They have fat ass calipers on them though, with a little M badge. And I believe if you get the 740Li with the M Performance package, then it's they're red brake calipers. How many bodies fit in the back? I don't know. I'd say like 4 minimum. You can get quite a lot in here, I'm telling you. It's a pretty big trunk. Hey, interesting note. I was gonna try to mention this. So obviously my E38's a V8, so it's got one battery. We all know that the E38 7 Series had 2 batteries, but can anybody guess how many batteries are in this car? I'll give you a hint here. It's a little difficult to open up the bottom here because the batteries are underneath the floorboard, but I'll see. Can you guys guess how many batteries this car has? There's some of the electronics. 4. It's got 3, believe it or not. Whoop, there it goes. No, never gonna open it again. So it's got 3 batteries, and you've got the big one here is a 105 amp hour battery. Then you've got this little teeny one here. That is, I believe, a 60, or no, that's a 12. That's a 12 amp hour battery. My understanding is that is only on the vehicles like this with the integral active steering. This is 4-wheel steering vehicle. So when you're going on the highway, all 4 wheels will kind of turn in the same direction. You're in a tight garage like this. Any other time, basically slower maneuvers, it'll just turn the wheels the opposite direction in the back. So the little 12 amp hour battery is just for integral active steering vehicles. And then there is another 62 amp hour battery underneath the hood. So there's 3 batteries on this car. Minimum. There might be another one, but we were taking a look at the specs and the diagrams of the car yesterday. So you've got 3 in comparison to the 2 that were on the E38. So a lot of battery. And yeah, you can see that trunk is pretty big. A lot of room in there. Similar to our E38, if not bigger. I'd say that the E38 has probably less. It's not as deep. We'll open it up here for you. It's probably about as deep, eh? What do you think? Maybe not as wide, since you've got the DVD system there and your batteries there. If you had the V12, the battery would be on the side there. So similar, and I think the dimensions, the exterior dimensions on both cars are pretty similar. You could get taller bodies in there, and that's true too. If you take a look, it's hard to see on the video here just because it's an iPhone that we're using, but the E38's bum is lower, right? The roof line is about the same, but the 7 Series just kind of slopes down. The E38 slopes down more, and I think just has a little bit lower rear end, whereas the M760 there is a little bit higher up. So you could probably you could stack them higher is what you could do in the back of this one. But it's a big difference, man. Like a lot of changes, certainly. It's definitely been an evolution over the last 4 generations to get to this, the new 6th generation. But it's nice. Let's try one more time. I'm gonna try one more time. I'm just move my pink fuzzy bunny headphones here. I'm gonna try one last time to get this media. It still doesn't work. Still not sure what's going on here. So I'm a little disappointed about that. But you can see you can do a lot of manipulating with that. Climate, it's not going to be on right now because the engine's not running. Sun protection, maybe that'll work. So you can operate all the sun roofs and moon roofs from here. Does not work. We'll start it up. We'll start it up again. Let's do that. Who wants to hear it? Oh, big difference. Well, yeah. I mean the F. If you take a look, I know it's not the best video. It's it's an older video that we did about 2 years ago now. But if you take a look at our 7 Series Evolution from February 2016, we did compare the E38, E65, F02, and then the G12, and you can kind of see the differences. And I mean this certainly feels a little bit more like the F01, especially if you were to compare the E38 to the E65. They're almost nothing comparable, whereas this, you can feel that this is more of an evolution instead of a revolution. So button placements are in the same. The center here certainly feels a little bit more similar on this compared to the F02. But I mean there's no doubt that the interior of this is way higher quality. I mean they've gone to town, which is my technical term for it. Little tiny features like the fact that the armrests are heated. I don't think you can get that on the previous generation. You've got just way more control over the lighting. Again, I don't think the F02s had any sort of ambient lighting, especially these. I really like these door lights here. I think they're very nice. But yeah, they have to keep improving. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is obviously over the top when it comes to luxury, and you can tell that they're really trying to position this, I think, as sort of the entry level into the Rolls-Royce market. So I mean, if you don't have the money for a Rolls-Royce, this certainly gets you a lot of features, a lot of luxury. Nobody's going to look at you and think, you're poor driving around in a fully loaded M760. So I would take this too. And I know we mentioned a little earlier in the stream, if we won the lottery tomorrow, I'd have a full garage full of stuff. I would probably buy this over the Rolls-Royce just because I'm not interested in Bentley, Rolls-Royce, anything like that. They just have never fascinated me. And I know that this is still over the top, but I like it. I can't lie. This is such a nice car. It's true, they are. The Phantom it's ugly. I think it's the back end of that car is disgusting. But they are built on the same platform, and even they use the same, not this engine, but the Phantom uses the same V12 engine that BMW's been using on the 7 Series for a while now. But obviously everything about the Rolls-Royce is completely different. It's not just like a badge engineered version of the 7 Series. It's an all new car, but the bones are similar in a way. So okay, let's fire it up again. I'm gonna fire it up so that the few of us who've joined us since the beginning here can hear it. And we do have the garage is all open here too, so I'm not too worried about letting it run. And we will give you guys a little taste of what this V8 or V12 sounds like, and then we'll sit in the back again and play with a couple of little buttons and go from there. It is obviously in sport mode. I'm going to put it into Eco Pro so you can hear. Huge difference. They must use some sort of like a butterfly valve on the exhaust to open it up so that in full performance mode, full M Sport mode, it's super loud. I mean, in comparison. but it's quieter when you're in eco mode. So let's see here. We're going to turn on the little TV. All this should work now, in theory. I mean, the car is running. No source. Yeah, we're still having issues with it. Wondering if just couldn't connect to the car. Maybe we had an yeah. You know what? Because if you take a look now, it's trying to connect. Because the car has a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then it has to have some sort of 3G LTE connection in order to connect to the smart key. So it's always got some sort of data, but I'm wondering maybe if it's just because we're in a weird area. We don't have a lot of service on our cell phone here, but the Wi-Fi should work no matter what. So we'll give it a shot. But you can open up everything, and I have to say that the windows back here are not tinted. They're it's pretty much an aquarium, but you do get quite a bit of light when you have everything open. Especially you can open up the sunshades from the doors, but I have turned them off, and that's why. Okay, so the tablet's reconnected. Let's go. Oh yeah, I would definitely live in this thing. There's no doubt about it. It's so comfortable, and then you've also got, I think there should be HDMI. Let's take a look, because again, we've had it for a couple days now, but there's so much going on with it that it's really impossible to see here. Okay, what is it doing now? There we go. The door has to be shut in order for you to turn off the child proofing, I guess, so that your kitties don't run into the car while you're starting it up. It's kind of stupid though. Okay. There we go. So you can control everything from the tablet. And it is a little silly that, just close that back up. If you want to do anything on these screens here, you do have to do it through the tablet. So you can switch here to the left screen and you can put on satellite radio. So for example, it's not going to play through the speakers here, but if you were to use, like I said, your bunny earphones here and plug it in, then you can listen to whatever you want as you're back here, and it could be independent essentially from the other passenger on the side here. So driving information. So if you are actually being chauffeured here, okay, I think we're back, and that was the problem that we were expecting to have with this. So we're just gonna kind of wrap things up here. Obviously, we don't want to leave the video kind of ending without any closure, but that is the problem. Since the phone is connected to Apple CarPlay and everything, we did try to disable that, but it seems to have still connected our system here. So that's why we had issues there. The internet on the car is not quite as strong as what we're using on the Wi-Fi. So the quality has probably gone down, and I do apologize for that. But if you are watching this video after we've done the live stream, which is pretty much probably now, you've probably all left the live stream anyway, but if you are watching this after the fact, we are going to be working on this episode over the next couple days. Obviously, the car sadly has to go back on Monday. It's going to be very sad to get rid of it. So send us your questions, leave a comment. We'll take a look at the live stream stuff. I know we missed a lot of the comments that were coming up, so I do apologize for that. But leave us a comment or send me an email, niall@perpetualradio.ca, about what you'd like to see about the car. Like I said, we're going to be doing a little bit of a comparison of sorts between the two of them, and we'll do our best to include. I mean, there's so much to go with this car, and I'd feel really bad if we did a really in-depth review and nobody watched it. So we'll work something out. Maybe we'll make like a super quick one just for the people who don't care, and then we'll make a very thorough one that kind of goes over everything about this car. But either way, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we do appreciate if you do. We're really getting up there in subscriber numbers, and we'd really like to be able to get some more. I think the more we get, the better chances we'll have to have more cars like this. And we do have a lot of plans to film more old stuff. So as soon as we can get, again, nicer weather, it is raining, but as soon as we have more people, then we will